Hi, my name's Andrew and I've been living with type 1 diabetes for over 18 years. For those of you that don't know what type 1 diabetes is, it's an autoimmune disease where the body's pancreas doesn't produce insulin anymore. As a type 1 diabetic, you have to try and mimic the job of the pancreas by delivering insulin normally via injection or insulin pump. I remember my diagnosis like it was yesterday. I actually went to the doctors for something completely different. I think I had something wrong with my knee, and at the time I was drinking lots of water and peeing a lot, and my mum thought it was a concern. However, I didn't. Mums being mums, she mentioned it to the doctor, even though I insisted not to. The doctor sent me for a blood test, and after arriving home a couple of hours later, we got a call from the hospital telling us to come straight down. Straight away, I knew there was something wrong. When we arrived at the hospital, I was told I was a type 1 diabetic. At first, I didn't know what to think. I didn't know anything about diabetes. I'd heard of diabetes, but I didn't know what it was. I thought it was for older people or people that didn't look after themselves. My blood sugar was off the scale and I had early signs of DKA. This is where your body's blood turns into poison. If it's left for a long period of time, your organs can fail. Luckily, I caught it at the right time. However, I had to stay in overnight and was monitored closely. The next day, I was given some training and a couple of insulin pens and basically patted on the back and told to go away. Diabetes is a very difficult disease to manage. You are constantly evaluating things. It's a constant self-adjustment and constant self-learning process. The smallest things can affect your blood sugar, and the list goes on. Sport, stress, lack of sleep, all of these things which are considered normal will affect your blood sugar. At the time, I was pretty scared, not knowing what impact type 1 diabetes would have on my life, especially when the doctors were telling me that it would definitely have an impact and probably I wouldn't be able to do some of the things I was doing before. This made me feel really nervous, and of course, as a young teenager, this made me feel very worried about what was ahead. Since being diagnosed, I feel that my diabetes has always made me persevere and never give up. Up until March of this year, I've been using multiple dose injections. This meant I was doing a minimum of 6 injections and could be of anything up to 10 or 12, just depending on my insulin requirements during the day and how much food I was eating. Lucky enough, in March of this year, I got funding for the Dana RS insulin pump. I've been using it with the APS artificial pancreas app, which talks to the Freestyle Libre sensor. This has really improved my glucose control on and off the bike, and really does give you an element of time where you can actually switch off from diabetes because you know the app will control itself. There's still a lot of setting up to do, but I'm really enjoying it and it definitely will improve my glucose control going forward. I've been using the Freestyle Libre sensor for around 3 or 4 years. This is a sensor which sits on the back of the arm and it measures the glucose readings. It captures 8 hours of data, whereas a finger prick only gives you a snapshot in time and doesn't give you any indication of where your blood sugar is whether your blood sugar is going up or down. The Libre is great because it gives you more data overnight and your glucose can easily be checked whilst exercising, so it's great whilst on the bike. I actually have my glucose values going through to my Garmin, so I can see the data going along and can make adjustments quite easily through the APS app on my phone. The insulin is also delivered through my phone, so there's no need for any more injections and you just have to replace the cannula every 2 to 3 days. Cycling has always been a massive part of my life. I used to race as a junior at a very good level. I then cycled, not competitively, on and off through my teenage years, but more recently picked up cycling again around 8 years ago. I really made the intent of racing again late 2020 to race in 2021. So this year I've really applied myself and I've also been mentored by Elliot Ward at In-Flight Cycling, and on the bike and off the bike my life has changed because of this mentorship. This year I've managed to gain my 2nd category licence quite easily, a 3rd baby who is just 2 weeks old. I've also got a daughter who is 4 and a son who is 2. So between them, they keep us busy. So it's early days, but at the minute, we're still getting about the same sleep as it was before. You may be thinking, what's the reason for this channel? I want to document my life living with type 1 and training to become an elite cyclist. I hope that my journey can help inspire other type 1s to step outside their comfort zone and go after their goals. I plan to document a lot more of my life living with type 1, being a full-time busy dad, holding down a full-time job and training. I hope this will be good for people to watch, and like I said, I'm going to be posting a lot more content, so stay tuned.